Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time, as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. And today I want to talk about a retro video game that I recently finished. It actually took me longer than I thought it was going to, and then so I had to delay it a few videos. That is Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie's Double Trouble. Now, I remember playing this game for the first time way back when I was a kid, and not liking it nearly as much as Donkey Kong Country 1 or 2. But I got a fair ways into it. I think I even beat that one before I beat any of the other ones. If I'm remembering correctly. I think I had the drive to finish it a little bit better. And part of that was because the first half of this game is significantly easier than either of the Donkey Kong Country games prior to. It feels very much like baby's first Donkey Kong Country. And I was a little bummed out by that. It is fitting though, because you get a new companion this time. You don't have Diddy or Donkey Kong. They're both missing. You go with Kiddy Kong, Dixie Kong's cousin, and is very clearly like this baby gorilla. Has the weight of a baby gorilla too, because if you try and pop him on your head like you can throw Diddy Kong in the previous game, you walk around very slowly and you chuck him in the air and he'll slam into the ground, sometimes breaking open little hidden areas. That's one of his specialties that he can do. You can see little breaks in the ground in certain places, and if you throw him, it'll break it open. But he is clearly much heavier than Dixie Kong. If he picks up Dixie, he can chuck her really high into the air. You can access points much higher. Kiddy Kong is very much a baby. He's going on his very first adventure. You take him on there, and the first half of the game feels like his first adventure. It's super easy to get through. The levels aren't particularly hard. They're still well designed. They still have nice backgrounds. They still have nice theming and everything. The enemies seem a little less unique or interesting this time around. I remember just the enemy designs weren't as striking as they have been in previous games, specifically Donkey Kong Country 2. I thought they had the most striking designs, most interesting designs. This one, it felt more like they had more generic designs and less like Kremlings and stuff that you go against. It felt less like King K. Rool's Force and more like just a bunch of random things that they decided to throw together. It also has a different color palette. It's a little bit blander. It almost feels like a beach theme, but like a really dull palette beach theme, which is maybe a little bit off-putting. Maybe I'm getting into the weeds a little bit too much, but it is something to point out. It doesn't feel nearly as vibrant as the games that predate it. But one of the nice things it does have, that I actually didn't super like at first, but it warmed up on me as the game progressed, it has a nice overworld that you have the freedom to move around in. You'll have some set paths that just automatically take you from level to level, but you have other places where you can swim freely and look for like secrets. There are secret caves hidden throughout the overworld that you can open up by just pressing a button when you're close enough to the cave itself. And you'll be able to play a little Simon Says thing in there, and you get a little banana bird. It seems just like a nice little addition, a nice little companion that you'll see in the save rooms for Wrinkly Kong. You'll go in these caves for the save cave, and you'll see the banana birds that you've found throughout the world. It's a charming little addition. You'll also only be able to explore certain areas until you've unlocked more abilities for your craft that you use. So essentially, first you start off with a boat. Funky Kong is making these different things for you. He has just a boat for you that you can swim around in and get to certain places. And then he'll give you, once you get upgrades for it, you'll get like little pieces throughout the world. Once you beat the first boss, you'll get like a patch that frees up lets you fix this inner tube, and now all of a sudden you have this raft that you can go on and that you can go over rocks on now and access a new part of this overworld. Within the overworld, you'll get little subworlds that you can go into. They have a similar mechanic. Typically pretty linear, but sometimes they'll have abilities where you can free move, and that usually means that there's a secret nearby, usually a hidden cave to get a banana bird. You'll also have NPCs abundantly in this game, a bunch of bears, and they have little side quests that you can accomplish throughout the game. They'll give you like essentially a fetch quest. They'll say, I have this item, I need something else, or I'm looking for this, I don't know what I'm looking for here, and you'll find another bear that says, oh, I need that item that you have, I'll give you this thing. You're like, oh, cool, that thing needs to go to this bear. It actually becomes something that's a little bit fun. You wouldn't think a little fetch quest like this would be that fun, but it actually becomes interesting throughout the game because there are so many different bears. Some of them just give you hints on what to do. One of them gives you a hint to unlock a whole secret world. That gives you a secret endgame boss where you get to fight K. Rool in a different setting than at the very end of the game, which is cool. Gives you a lot of of hidden things that you can unlock that give you more stuff like more banana birds, but also sometimes secret items that you use to access, again, secret worlds, or get extra of DK coins or these bear coins. You have lots of different currency in this game. You can either get these regular like golden bee coins that you get at the end of certain levels, and getting those and giving them to one specific bear will unlock certain areas in this secret world that you unlock. You'll also get silver bear coins that you can spend at a couple shops to unlock certain items that you'll trade with other people for other things. You'll also get the DK medals that were prevalent in Donkey Kong Country 2 that were in every single level, but really hard to find. You had to go out of your way to find them. In this game, they're pretty easy to find overall. You don't have to do much searching around to find these ones. They're pretty apparent. They're usually at the end of the level, somewhere close by. You'll usually see the guy holding his DK shield, and you have to throw the metal barrel behind him to hit him, and you get the DK medals. A few of them are out of the way, usually toward the end of the game, that you have to kind of search for, but going through the level one or two more times, it was pretty easy. It was really nice the way that the checkpointing works in the game. If you finish the level, it will do a banner that's either blue or pink, depending on if you ended the level with Kiddy Kong or Dixie Kong. And then it'll get another flag that's yellow that flies if you got the DK medal. So it's a nice little addition that shows you exactly what you need to do in that level. You also get an exclamation point if you're missing something like a bonus round coin. That's what those golden bee coins were for the bonus rounds. Usually 2 bonus barrels in each level, sometimes 3. If you get enough of those coins, you'll unlock all the levels in the bonus area and get that secret boss that I talked about earlier, which is an extra King K. Rool fight. While we're talking about it, let's talk about the boss fights in this game. They are exceptionally unique. I actually saw it was recommended a list on Google the other day about the best Donkey Kong Country fights. They had a bunch of Donkey Kong Country 3 fights as the best ones in the entire series. I don't agree, but they are absolutely the most unique. They took the concept from Donkey Kong Country 2 and then really ran with it. You have one where you fight this robot that you have to dodge its blasts of attacks with its jet fuel that's shooting at you. And then when it stops, it has 2 layers of swords swirling. You have to jump on each one and then bounce on his head. There's a second phase where you have to bounce on a head that's underneath that. Really inventive, really interesting. Another one, you'll transform into one of the new animal friends that you can be, the elephant. You have to shoot water at this snail that shoots water at you from behind a waterfall. And when it pokes its eyes out, you have to shoot it on both sides a couple times, repeat and rinse and repeat a few more times, trying not to get knocked off by the water it's shooting at you. Really inventive, really interesting bosses. Again, they're not my favorite. I think they do some interesting things, but they weren't my favorite mechanically. In fact, some of the bosses really kind of pissed me off with how inconsistent they were, specifically K. Rool at the end, or Baron K. Rule something, whatever his alias is in this one, where he's like this mad scientist. Hitting his little propeller jetpack thing that he has is pretty inconsistent. I did not like fighting him very much, but like I said previously, this one's much easier overall, so the boss fights were relatively easy to take down, so it didn't really bother me in the end. I did like that they were doing something new at least, so I will give them the props for that. Now, at first, when I was getting through the first half of this game, I kept thinking in my brain, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this review. I know exactly what I'm going to say. I was prepping to finish that review in my brain before I'd even gotten into the latter half of the game. And then it started to ramp up in difficulty, slowly but surely. And then some of the levels got substantially harder. And then the bonus levels are just as hard as any bonus world in any of the Donkey Kong Country games, as they should be. And they were really difficult. And I was starting to really enjoy myself in the second half of the game. In fact, as it picked up, my entire thought process changed on what I was thinking about this game. By the time I got toward the end, I thought, I actually want to go and find every single DK coin that I've missed so far. I want to get all these bonus round coins, and I want to go do everything in this game. I couldn't believe that I'd gone from oh, this is the most disappointing one. It's still good, but it's not nearly as good as its predecessors, to I want to complete everything that there is in this game. That's because it gives you so much variety as well. If you do all the side quests and get all the DK coins, you unlock a helicopter from Funky Kong. You can explore the overworld completely. And there's special secrets you can find. There's extra stuff in the overworld that you couldn't access earlier. There's also a hidden cloud area with a mama banana bird sitting behind this giant wall that K. Rool apparently cast a spell on her to pin her back. So you have to get all the banana birds. She'll tell you that you need X amount more. I couldn't believe that I needed 7 or 8 more when I first visited her, because I'd been getting them all over the place. I couldn't believe that there was that many left. So I went and did all the side quests. You get a little secret ending at the end. The ending itself is nothing that special. It's pretty funny. It's just an alternate way of beating K. Rool. It's really kind of silly. It's not that satisfying, but the journey to get there was very fun. So this game really picks up in the second half and has some of the best levels at the very end of the game. In fact, I would say that the lightning level at the very last world is the best Donkey Kong Country level ever conceived. I remember it from my childhood, and replaying it today, it is spectacular. It is tense. It's difficult. It's got a great idea. If you go in the water and the lightning strikes, and while you're in it, you get hit. It'll track where you're moving as well. So if you just try and run through the level, the lightning will spawn ahead of you just to hit you right as you run into it. It's super, super smart in its AI. It has hard enemy placements, has some really difficult platforming that you have to get through. I think it's my favorite level in the entire franchise. And a lot of that final world is like that. Just really brilliant level design. And my biggest gripe with this game is that I wish the first half of the game was as good as the second half. Because if it was, this would be the best Donkey Kong Country game, hands down. But the first half is just really easy and simple. So in that regard, it is very accessible, at least. If you wanted to jump in and you were not a very experienced Donkey Kong Country or platforming game player at all, this would be an easy one to jump into. But man, for a threequel in a series that's built on hard platforming, I wish that first half was better. Otherwise, it would be spectacular, because overall, this package is really, really great. It has a lot of depth, a lot of fun things to discover. The secrets aren't that hard to uncover, so it really drives you to want to go and find them. And the bonuses that you get for going out of your way to explore and do side quests and stuff are really worth your time and really fun. The character NPCs that you run into are all really charming and interesting. I quite love what this game is going for. There are a few things that kind of blemish the overall product for me, and I wish I could give it a platinum rank. I really do, because it's, like I said, that last half is really fantastic. But I'm going to give Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie's Double Trouble a gold rank, and say that if that first half was better, this would be the easiest recommended game in the entire franchise. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.